Hello, it's Kathleen from ClearedJobs.Net and my good friend Rachel Bozeman joining me here. And we're back with another episode of Best Cleared Job Search Tips from Recruiters. And I'm so excited because we get to give you just sort of the highlights of really great advice from our cleared recruiters. So let's kick it off, Rachel. What's our first tip?
Absolutely. Well, I think we're going to start in a really cool spot, and that is with our friend Tim Zentz over at Nightwing. If you haven't heard of Nightwing, it's okay. The name is fairly new, but they're not new to the game. They've been doing this work in the national security space for over 40 years. Yes, my friends, 40 years. And just because I think you need a little fun fact for all those foodies out there, their employees bake fresh bread every Friday. If that doesn't get
Woohoo!
you excited, I know, right, Kathleen? Like, if that doesn't
Woohoo!
get you excited, I don't know what else will. Maybe this job search tip will be that thing that gets you so excited. And just like we were so excited about the fresh baked bread, show your excitement and that interest in the technology when you go into that interview. They're looking for people that are excited about what they do. In those especially tough to fill positions on the cutting edge of technology, you need to make sure that you can demonstrate that and that you're excited about it and informed. If you have about 70 to 80% of those skills needed for the position, they can train you the remaining 20 to 30%. So make sure you demonstrate what you know and that you're willing to learn the rest out there and just take ownership of that. I thought it was such a great tip. And let's put a little bit more butter on another tip over there, Kathleen.
Gosh, I'm just getting hungry with this episode.
I know, right?
Sometimes we're jumping in pools, and now we're making sure that we're well fed. So our next tip comes from Melissa Jensen over at RACTSOL. Just to remind you what RACTSOL is, they provide emerging technology to both federal agencies and federal customers. So Melissa had a tip specifically for transitioning military. She recommends veterans ask for an informational interview. You're not really asking for a job, you're asking for the information about working for the company. And it's a really great way, especially for our transitioning veterans, to learn more about the private sector. And informational interviews are something that I've used a lot in my career where I just reach out to a program manager and I say, I need a little bit more background on the kind of work you do, if, they can talk about it, but sort of what the company does, the company culture. It's sort of to get you more comfortable before you start applying for the position, because a lot of times that it might not be the kind of position that you're looking for, the kind of company you're looking for. Rachel, what's our next tip?
Oh, it's a good one. And it's from our friend Heather Morris over at Redhorse. So let me remind you who Redhorse is. They support federal agencies in cybersecurity, data analytics, and mission critical systems. And yes, another fun fact, they also participate in SkillBridge. So make sure you check them out. But Heather's great tip is about the resume. I know one of my favorite topics and probably one of yours too. It's really about how you can be most successful with your resume. So friends, if you are putting together a 10-page resume, stop now, even if it's 6. Stop now. If your career spans 25 years and you've done incredible things, showcase that experience in no more than 3 pages.
Mhm.
Remember your friends, the recruiters, they're going to spend on average 15 to 30 seconds reviewing your resume. Make it count. Don't put in filler. Don't be, don't go out there and share things that aren't relevant. Be clear. Be concise. Heather says, please have a skills section. It makes it so much easier for the recruiters. When you think about those skills, these are the things that you have. Don't put on there, I'm a team player. Great listener. My mom thinks I'm cool. We want to know about those actual skills. Tell me what softwares you are familiar with, what certifications or other skills that you have related to those certifications. Make it easy on the recruiter. Those 10-page resumes, we've stopped reading after page 2 or 3. Don't waste your time. Use that time really polishing up those first 2 to 3 pages. Make it great, because the resume is going to get you into the door, into the interview. And so they're going to use that as that launch pad for conversation. Make sure that you're able to answer those questions by really taking ownership of your resume. I could go on all day, Kathleen, but I'm
I
not.
know you
I
could.
want to
I
hear
know you
more.
could.
Tell me more.
Well, I think we're going to touch on a few resume tips in this episode. So, we can move on to the next one from my great friend Peter Alcantara at Acuity. Just a reminder, Acuity has 4 business units: financial, foreign affairs, national security, and intel. And we love to hear that Peter says that his company talks to every candidate. The recruiters get on the phone and they talk with everyone to really find out what the candidate is looking for. So we've said it before, we'll say it again. And Peter said it really well, saying, make sure your resume mirrors the job that you're applying for, because the recruiter and the hiring manager are going to look at that resume and they're going to say, I specifically said in the job posting, these are the skills that I'm looking for. These are the certifications I'm looking for. These are the software languages I'm looking for. If they don't see those in that resume, it's a pass. So do yourself a favor and make sure that you have everything that's in the job posting in your resume, if applicable. And you also want to make sure that you're going to tell the hiring manager, the recruiter, through your resume, what value you're going to bring to the company, what you have been able to do, what experience you have that's really going to knock those job responsibilities out of the park. Rachel, what's next?
I think we just keep going with this resume thing because it's so good and you want to hear it. And the next one comes from Michelle Eveleigh over at Washington Headquarters Services, or
Woohoo!
WHS for short. Michelle does call WHS the best kept secret. Not a secret anymore in DoD because of their large portfolio of work that they do supporting 27 DoD organizations, including the Pentagon. Yes, true story. So Michelle took it a step further with the resume. We've talked a lot about some just great general resume tips, whether they're private or public or anything else, but we want to talk a little bit more about those federal resumes. So Michelle gave a great suggestion out there to use the resume builder that's available to you on USA Jobs when you're applying for those positions that require that federal resume. So to remind those, what is required on those federal resumes? There's 4 things that you must include. 1, dates of employment. 2, hours per week. 3, salary. 4, addressing every requirement of the job you're applying for. Listen to what they're asking for. If you know these are requirements, don't think you can get around them. These are the basic building blocks to get you into that interview. Follow what the job posting says. Make sure you're submitting the right kind of resume. If it says federal, definitely go out there and make sure that you understand not only the 4 requirements for that federal resume, but that you're compliant and include all of the information that that job hunter or job seeker or job employer is going to need.
And our next tip comes from Mark Diehl at BlueHalo. Another fun fact: a blue halo is a protective ring around the planet. Similarly, Blue Halo's mission is to protect the United States and our allies. So, another tip that came in from Mark, which is similar to an earlier tip, was in the cleared space, sometimes there's very limited information available on the job postings due to the sensitive nature. And this is a recommendation from Mark that suggests that the candidates ask for a 15-minute call with the program manager to better understand what's going on, that they can talk about in, talking around the sensitive nature, but just better to get a feel for the job and the company before the candidate starts the interview and hiring process. He says, don't be afraid to ask for this. They may say no, but it is mutually beneficial between the candidate and the recruiter to be able to do it. Just sort of say, I'm interested in joining your candidate pipeline, but I really would love a 15-minute call with the PM just to answer some questions before I really commit to this process. And there is nothing wrong with clarifying what the job is asking for before you start in the application process. It's actually a win-win for everyone else because you make sure that the recruiter understands what you're looking to do with your career, and they can better explain to you what they are looking for in the right candidate. Rachel?
Fantastic. It's not about you're trying to bypass the recruiter, you're just seeking clarity. So make sure that when you're asking for that call, you really are taking the time to just seek to understand. You're not shooting your shot, you're seeking to understand. I think that is such great advice, and I appreciate
It
Mark
really
for
is.
sharing that. I'm so glad you shared that, Kathleen. And I'm so glad that all of our friends were here for it today so that they can understand and really make the best of their cleared job search. So we'll be back for more roundups, quick tips. There might be some more counting. You've been warned in the coming months. Until then, make sure you get out there, rate, review, and follow a show or two. Always new episodes, always something to learn. Bye-bye.